Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial from Trust. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to enable and use Emmet on your Visual Studio Code editor or any code editor you actually use. So be it Sublime Text, Atom or Brackets or whatever code editor that is your preference and your choice, you can have Emmet enabled and write faster HTML, CSS. Okay, so essentially Emmet is a plugin or an extension, if I may, that allows you to write less code and do more within a short time. Okay, so I have Emmet enabled on my Visual Studio Code because actually Emmet comes shipped in with Visual Studio Code. So to make sure you have Emmet enabled, what you need to do first is to come to settings. So this cogwheel icon here at the lower left corner of my Visual Studio Code, I'll click on it and I'll go to settings. Okay, and then within the settings I can then search for Emmet. Okay, so it brings out this page here and then I can just click on edit in settings.json. So basically what I want to set here is this emmet.trigger expansion on tab, and yours may be set to false. If that is the case, then you need to set it to true, and that should do the trick. So essentially I'm just going to close this and I'll go back to my page here. So this is emmet.html page I created. So first off, the first thing I'm going to show you is how to generate a boilerplate for your HTML template. So if you if you press the exclamation mark and hit the tab key, it generates a boilerplate HTML template for you. So that's the wonder of Emmet. It helps you write your HTML and CSS a lot faster. Okay, so now let's see other things we can do with Emmet. So the first thing we want to talk about now is on Emmet, any element you type out and hit the tab key, it automatically generates an opening and a closing tag. So if I say something like header and I hit the tab key, it generates an opening and a closing tag, okay, right away for me. So but then let's see some more complex things. Okay, so the first thing I'll talk about is classes and IDs. Okay, so if I say something like dots and I say header and I hit the tab key, it generates a div with a class of header. So essentially that's how you can generate a div. Now let's do another one. What if I use the hash symbol and I say header? So what happens here is that it generates a div with an ID of header. Okay, so instead of writing it out, you know, div, class, header and all of that, you can easily do this as fast as you can and write your code a lot faster. Okay, so let's see some other things here we can do. So supposing we wanted to generate a div with multiple classes, okay, all we need to do is to say, so for example, I'm going to generate a paragraph tag, okay, with multiple classes. So I'll say class 1. If I want to add, oh, I did not add my dots, so there needs to be a dot. Okay, so if I want to add another class, I can just add another dot and say class 2, and then if I even want a third class, I can say class 3, and then I hit the tab key. So essentially what it does is it generates a paragraph tag with 3 classes. Okay, so that's how you can easily write out you know, your code. So now let's look at how we can multiply stuff with Emmet. So what I'll do now is I would say I want a UL tag, or before then I will say something like how to generate a child element. Okay, so first off I'll say I want to generate a nav element, and within it I want to generate a UL element. So use the greater than sign to signify that you want to create a child element, okay, under it, and then hit the tab key. As you can see, it generates a nav opening and closing tag, and then within it there is a UL tag. So let me just undo that and say I even want to generate a list tag, so li within that. So if I click on the tab key, you see it generates this code for me here. Okay, Now let's undo that and even go further. So supposing I wanted to create maybe I should just remove the nav, just make it a list. So supposing I wanted to create 5 lists within within a UL tag. So all I just need to do is to say times. So this asterisk actually stands for the multiplication sign, and then I'll say 5. If I hit the tab key, it generates this stuff you see here. Okay, so now let's scroll down and see some more tricks with Emmet. Okay, now supposing I wanted to generate let's say 2 div tags or a div tag, a paragraph tag, and something else. I'll say something like div, and then I'll say plus. So I want to generate a paragraph tag under the div tag, so I'll say p, and then I hit the tab key. As you can see, it generates a div tag and a paragraph tag. Okay, so let's see how we can do something else. So this one I want to show you is, so I'll say a UL, and then within it I want a list tag, okay, with a class of, so I'll say dot item. Okay, but I want the list tag to have different classes. So ideally, if I want to generate 5 list tag, 5 li tag, I'll just say times 5. Okay, right? But if I want it to have like different classes, so like item 1 2 3 4 5 in each of the li tag, all I just need to do is to add the $sign. So if I add the $sign and hit the tab key, you see it generates a UL tag with 5 li tags within, but then the classes are different. Okay, so that's one other trick you may want to have under your belt to be able to code faster in Emmet. Okay, so let's see some more. So now I'll talk about grouping. Okay, grouping with Emmet. So let's just do a div tag. Okay, and then I want to create a child, but this time I'm going to group it. Okay, so in the group I will say header. So to create a group within using Emmet, all you need to do is put it within the bracket. So I'll say child of UL, and then I'll say I want it to have a child of li, and let me just say times 3. Okay, and I would say something like I also want to have an a tag. Okay, and then outside I'm going to add a footer. So this is the header. Now let me add the footer. I'll just say plus footer. Okay, so I'll hit the tab key. Now see what happens. Right, so it generates the header tag, a UL tag that has 3 li tags, and then within the li tags there is the a tag. Okay, and then there's the footer tag. In fact, we can even make it better. So within this footer tag, for example, let me just Ctrl Z this. I can say I want the footer tag to have a child of a paragraph. Okay, I'll hit the tab key, and as you can see, within the footer I've generated a paragraph. Okay, so within this paragraph I can then say copyright blah 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 and stuff. Okay, so essentially Emmet is a very useful tool we can use in writing HTML and CSS very fast. Okay, let me just show you one. Supposing I wanted to create a link, and I wanted the link to have a text to say something. I can do that by using the a tag, and if I hit the tab key, essentially to create a link, but the link doesn't have any text yet. Okay, but let me show you how you can even go a step further. So I've pressed my A, and then I'll just add in this, and then whatever text I write within the curly quotes would be the text that displays on the link. So supposing I say, let's say sign up, and I hit the tab key, so I need to be outside, and then I'll hit the tab key. As you can see, excuse me, it generates a link tag with the sign up button. So essentially that's how you can work with Emmet and really do some stuff. But then I'll also want to show you some tricks with CSS, particularly one trick with writing CSS. So what I'll do is I'll create a new tab, and then I'll save it as emmet.css, and then I'm just going to hit save. Okay, so the trick I want to show you with CSS actually may not necessarily be with Emmet, it may just be with the Visual Studio Code. So supposing you wanted to write something like let me write for a class of header. So this is how you write your CSS, right? Yeah. And you wanted to write something like background image. Okay, so there are many options here for background color, background image and stuff. But what you can do is, as you start to write background, so I've written back, which is like a word within the background. If I start writing im, immediately Emmet will look for the property that has these words in it. So instead of typing the full background image, I can just say back and then I can start typing im, and Emmet will look for the appropriate property, and then I can just click on enter. Okay, and if I want to do a URL, all I just need to do is type UR, and then I can then specify. So maybe it's within my images folder or something like that. So maybe I need to go up and images and stuff like that. Okay, so but that's one. But within Emmet 2, there are some CSS tricks that we can use to write our CSS a lot faster. Okay, so supposing I wanted to set my position, let's say I want to set my position to relative, I can just say POS and then put my colon and then say R, and then immediately it writes out my position relative for me. And so there are a lot of other tips and tricks you can use to write your CSS a lot faster using Emmet. Okay, but for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in the description, okay, that has that will lead you to Emmet cheat sheet. Okay, so that link will lead you to a document essentially that you can see so many shortcuts that Emmet provides you with. So yes, this is the tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe because I create cool content for the web. See you in another one.